Hey guys, this is Turk, and in this video I'm going to be doing a review of 1136 of One Piece. I keep saying reaction. It's my 10th take. I'm having some sinus issues. Um, so in the last chapter we got a lot of world building or exposition or such, and we're going to get more today too. And we find out some stuff, but there's something specific that's interesting is that the owl that is where we see in the library with Saul is the one that's allowing making the books there like giant size, which begged the question to me as I was reading it. Does that mean that do the giants in Elbaf have a library elsewhere with regular books that don't need that? We see something in this book in this chapter about different I guess it's like a prophecy. So I'm wondering how they write stuff down here in Elbaf, and if this owl is only staying at this library because he's keeping the O'Hara books gigantified so that Saul can read them, because obviously Saul wouldn't have a lot of time reading them otherwise, and there's so many books. Just imagine, because this is One Piece, and I don't know if they have printing presses everywhere. I know that Morgan's has a printing press, but just imagine if the monumental, mountainous, what's a good word? Task, gigantic task of transcribing all those books for for giants to be able to read them. You'd need a human to be able to start reading all the books, probably reading them aloud, and Saul and others would have to transcribe it down, and that would be such a enormously arduous task. So yeah, the owls have some ability, and they don't explain if it's like a deva fruit or anything. Anyway, next we found out something interesting. I'll go with the less funny thing first. Apparently, this new generation of giants, the kids here who are I don't know, they're 8 to 10-year-olds, they're not being trained to be warriors. So they're kind of pointing, Oda's setting them up as the next generation after Haruden. So we have Doi and Bragi, they're in their prime, they're probably in their 50s as giants go. And we got Haruden and Gerd and Roto, and I don't know what's his name, Severson? He looks like he's a bit older than the other four. But those are the new giant pirates, and now what's the other guy? Goldberg. They're all they're all look like they're 18 to 20s in their 20s. But I was wondering, does that mean there's no giants that are in between there? They don't show any here at this point, any teenager giants. So I was thinking that would be the next generation. I'd be ready to rise up and follow in Haruden's steps if they wanted to. But Oda's shown here is because of King Harold, Loki's father, he wanted to change things and stop the nation of Elbaf from being a warring country to and start fostering peace and positive relations with other nations. Probably maybe do trade deals and things like that. And we still don't know why no one else has taken the throne after his death. I was under the impression somewhere that Haruden was the prince of Elbaf, but we know that Loki's is Harold's son, but he's now imprisoned for his transgressions, his crimes against Harold, and they're going to elaborate more on some other stuff he's done, and he's basically like Loki from the mythology. On the back to the kids a minute, it was interesting because Ripley, who's also one of the professors at this school or teachers, she is raising her own son named Colin to be a warrior. He tries to make a sneak strike on Luffy and just to test him out, and then she's congratulating him afterward. And let's see. And then the other thing that was interesting was that what was the last thing? The other thing I wanted to get, the funny part is Ripley's husband is a human, And theories are abound among other One Piece reviewers about who that could be. I haven't taken any, I haven't let it settled, I should say, on any real guesses as who it could be. I think Tekking's saying it could be Shiki. I don't know why he's sticking with Shiki. Shiki seems like the least likely as far as someone that I think Ripley would be interested in. I think then Grand Line Review was talking about what's his name? He was the third guy. He was the next guy up in Roger's group. I can't think of his name now. That was after Rayleigh. We saw him briefly in the flashback with Odin. What the heck was his name now? No, I'm blanking on it because of the age. Because of the age difference and or that giants have versus humans, they're not really married. So at this point, Ripley is probably she's. Let's see. Ripley's got to be well over a century old now. She looks like she's in her mid to late 20s because Haruden and Gerd are probably in their just over 100 because we saw them in Makebound's backstory. So Ripley's probably 150 to 200 years old, I'm going to guess. Something like that. No, see, wait. No, not 200 years old. Because how long do they live again? Over 400. She's probably like under 150, let's say. 125 to 150. So whoever this is, we're assuming this person is somebody given Colin's age is probably in their 70s or 80s, something like that, because Colin's a kid now, but they age very slowly. How old would that be? How old would Colin be then? He's a kid now. What is it? 3 times they age 3 times slower. He's probably like 24 years old, real like his actual age, not how young he, not how he's a child, but he's like because they're aging slowly. I'm gonna say 24 years old if he's like 8. So yeah, she was with somebody like that person could be like 50 then maybe something like that. Anyways, yeah, Sanji of course was like trying to take this in, and it's like okay, Sanji, what do you I have a realistic question about Sanji now with that. Is Oda setting up Sanji to be the kind of guy who's going to be with a lot of women and have a lot of children? That kind. Because he's always swooning over them. This is obviously more of a kid's kind of comic, though. So I don't know where Oda's going with that. Where he's just where it's going with that. Where he's like flirting and everything else with the ladies around here. And now he's like thinking about this. It's like he's trying to think. Oh, I could marry a giant. It's like okay. Sanji, are you thinking about the long-term implications? And then if he marries someone, whoever he decides to marry, say he marries Pudding, is he gonna still say he went to visit Vivi at some point after marrying Pudding? Is he still gonna act the same way? He's gonna get himself in trouble, and I don't know where. I just kind of realistically trying to see where that would be going. Anyways, that's my tangent on that. And then the Straw Hats got some new outfits, and some of them stayed. I don't think all of them went to the party. The ending is where they finally go back to the party. We had this whole party setting up for like 3 or 4 chapters ago. And I think Chopper and Nami for sure are the Straw Hats. And then Bonnie's not gonna know, she's a kid, so they don't want to have her involved in this drink. Bonnie, I think Lilith too. Those 4 I think did not go to the party. I think everyone else did. Let's see. Let me see here. I can see the image. Frankie's probably there. Yeah, I think all the Straw Hats except Nami and not Nami. Sorry, Robin. If I said Nami before, I meant Robin. Robin and Chopper, I think, are still at the library with Saul. He's not going to go into this party either. He's not like the other Elbaf. We already know he's not like a warrior like them, but he was like part of the Marines. But I don't. Also, it doesn't look like he likes to party hardy like the other ones do. And the last part of that on the Straw Hat end is that the Jarl showed up. And we saw he was one of the 2 that was interacting with Big Mom in the flashback, and he's still alive. He has a sword right through his head, and they'll get into that in a little bit here. Why? And so there's a party going on, but while that was happening, we see that the 2 Gods Knights that we saw in another chat before, they're there, and we get a glimpse of one of their powers. I'm thinking it was the male, the Shanks twin. I don't think we get his name. Do we get his name yet? We get the woman's name in this chapter. And anyways, she one of them used some kind of power on one of these guards that are patrolling the castle, which was interesting because the castle looks deserted and starting to look decrepit on the inside, but they're still having guards patrol that area. But so one of them did something to this guy where he looked like to be in intense, immense pain there, and they're looking for Loki. So they tell us about that here. Let's get to it. So actually, we start with the briefly with the cover story, and the last one, Yamato and what's her name? Otama, right? No, is it Otoko? Togo? Shit, I keep getting those two's name mixed up. The one with the fruit that does this. I forget her name with the other girl with the pink hair, and she ate a smile, so she can't stop laughing. I think this one's Toko. She almost got kidnapped by that guy. The one with the lion stomach, and she defeated him because she's been training with what's her name? So anyways, in this part, Yamato has the guy, and he leads him to this base of operations, and we see that it's Who's Who, the former CP9 agent who was also part of the upper echelon of Kaido's group for the last some years before, previously to getting defeated by Jinbei. He seems to have a base here set up because we see them walk up to this two-story building with a totem, a thing looking like his face. So I thought this was interesting because it makes sense that in the defeat of Kaido, the other what was it, Toby Robo, was that the name? Remember, I hated those two. Who was that one? Page One and his sister was so fucking annoying. It was satisfying to see Big Mom punch her out, but it would have been even more satisfying for Luffy to do it, because when Nami said Luffy would be king of the pirates, that really got underneath that woman's skin. I forget her name now. And so anyways, yeah, it looks like who's setting up. What I was gonna say is even though these other Wano's removed from the tyranny of Kaido and Orochi, we saw Queen and King and were at the abandoned. They went back to the Udon excavation camp, the one where Queen was in charge of, and we don't know what their status, because they were attacked by Green Bull. But it looks like the others, these other officers have dispersed, and there's some of them you can see are still in Wano, and now they're like setting up their own little shop to probably. And I don't know what this goal is here, but it's just I like this because it's realistic in that you have this really powerful, say like a mob boss who's been brought down in prison, but some of the others escape, and they set up shop, and they're carving out their own little piece, the king thing now, in the aftermath of their former boss being destroyed. So it's very realistic that way. I like that. Anyways, we get to the party now. We go back to the party. Oh, is that Colin there? Oh, by the way, how the frick is Jarl so much taller than everyone else? He's got to be the tallest giant. We see him towering over everyone else here. So we start by seeing him talking with Luffy. Luffy's eating some of that moose meat and is complimenting how wonderful it is. And Jarl's talking like, yeah, it's a tricky thing to catch, but it's wonderful when you're doing it. It's one of the best meat there is, type of thing. And we see Haruden and the other giants there, and they're bringing out. We see some of the other people. We see other pirate giants partying in the background. There's a cook coming out, a chef with more plates of meat, and so everyone's just having a good time here. And Haruden's like, yeah, the moose was hard to catch, but it's no task like that. No task is too great when one's savior has come to visit. And so Haruden brings up something interesting. Not Haruden, this is Jarl. Sorry, Jarl brings up, wow, it's also wonderful to see humans here. It's also rare to see humans here, because usually most arrive at Elbaf shores and just think the uh, underworld, confused with the area they call the underworld, for Elbaf proper, and they always leave or flee, and and they never know about the Sun Realm. But I mean, also that's interesting because like, how would they know? Because the Sun Realm, they need to have a, unless they're gonna have a ship that can have a way to get up there. They don't know how to use. They don't have access, I think, to the that rainbow, that cube thing. That was that a cube. I think it was that the. Let me go back a second. I think it was like a cube. The wasn't it a cube? The come on. The come on. That the we saw Dorian Bragi use. Yes, they used it to create a the rainbow that is traversable and tangible to for the Straw Hats to get up there. That over here. Let's see here a second. Right? Hold on. Do they have that thing there? Right here. Hold on a second. Oh, yeah, there it is. Um, yeah, it's called a painter, and it is a cube, right? So, how would other, how would other yeah, how would other other travelers even be able to get up to the sun realm? It's way up there. So I mean, that's sort of like it's like that slipping her Yarrow's mind. Like, of course, people aren't going to know about the sun realm unless they interact with giants who end up leaving the traveling and visiting outside of Elbaf. So I don't know why that seemed a little silly. Like, okay, how would they know you guys are up there? So now we switch to probably sometime later in the same at the party still, and uh, we have Usopp telling tales again. He's he's this is probably gonna come back to bite him in the ass. He's telling a tall tale about oars, the oars they fought that Moria had, and how he's a mighty this mighty warrior, a legendary warrior even to you guys, and he's saying I'm the one who finished him off. It was me, of course, the mighty Usopp, and all the people because these are like Viking stuff. People you can tell that the part of the like I guess you can almost call it a stereotype of the how we see them. They're gonna love hearing boisterous tales like this. And actually, now that I think about it, that's something that I was thinking about. Just commenting on Jarl's height, that he looks like he's about the size of Oars there. So I'm wondering, like, I was like commenting, how come he's that tall? Maybe he is part. Maybe he's part of one of those Oars. What do they call it? What is Oars? Did they have a name for his race? I forget now. And we get some of the other Straw Hats interacting with people. Some of these other people, when I say people, I'm talking about the Giants. They're like looking at Jinbei and they're amazed by his appearance. They're not, and they comment on his skin, but they're not saying it in a negative way. I want to clear that up right away. I was getting concerned they were going to go for that angle, but they're like, "Wow, look at your skin," and because a lot of these Giants, as they comment here, even is like they have never left Elbaf. They're in this secluded island, and they probably just get tales from people like Dorian Bragi. And this is like catches Jinbei off guard, and he just comments like, "Well, you guys should just go visit Fishman Island. You'd be amazed at all the types of my kind you'd see there." And one of the other ones like, "Wow, really? I've always wanted to see a mermaid." And then Sanji's right there too, and he's like, "Yeah, you should go there. The mermaids are such a sight to behold." Uh, but he said, even when as beautiful as they are, then he goes on. He's jumping around. He's hanging around these other ladies. He's like going on like it's so. He's like, how do you say it? I'll just kind of quote it. My heart soars when I see all these giant ladies, and oh god, Sanji's just like, yeah, Sanji's just having a blast here. Basically, we don't have to go on with that. Like the other ladies are enjoying the attention, and he's like, oh, and they're like, Sanji, you're so silly. and he's just really enjoying himself. This is kind of like what happened with him and the mermaids at Fishman Island, where they're all relaxing and then they're enjoying his compliments and company and stuff like that. Though I don't know if he really hit on them. I don't know what. Where I'm wondering if one of them would uh, take his advances seriously and want to try figure out how this is going to work with a giant and a human. uh, and then if some of the other giants are coming up the brook because they see he's like a skeleton, I'm like, oh, what are you? And and he just goes on. I'll answer that with like a song, and he just starts going on singing. And the giants are like, wow, this is just amazing. The things that are out there in the world. And right there is Nami and Zoro there, and they're both talking to each other like, wow, it's amazing that the giants, so many of these giants never go out to sea. I kind of assumed they would all just go out there and be pirates um, like Dorian Bragi are. Um, no, so Roto comes in now, and he comes up and he's apologizing to. He comes up to Zoro and Nami and apologizes to them for what he did. He's still all beat up a bit. Oh yeah, that means they must have brought him down. They had him hanging up from like strapped up in a cross style across a was it like a mast of the ship or something? That little taxi type shit they used to get around. And he's still all beat up from Gerd and Goldberg, but yeah. Uh, let's see now. What's going on here? So one of the other giants is commenting, we're not gonna forgive him easily, but apologize is the best we could get as a good start. Like so, they're forcing him to like, make sure he apologizes for what he did to the Straw Hats. Uh, and whose is this? Is that Sanji? Someone has this thought. I don't know if that's supposed to be Roto. And someone's commenting, "Oh, Gerd's sadistic side makes my heart flutter." I'm sure that's Sanji. Uh, so, anyways, Zoro's like accepts the apology and saying, "Nah, don't sweat it. It's not. No one died, so it's not that terrible." Which is, I mean, a good point in a way. But he did think he was going to get away with it. But then he goes on to point out, like, well, that's only. But if Usopp hadn't stopped me, I would have had your head though. And it scares the hell out of Roto. He sees the like demonic energy almost like just in the look of Zoro there, and he falls back in fear. Uh, and someone else comments, I don't think that's Gerd. That's someone else. I think one of the other giants is saying this. Or maybe that was Gerd. I don't know. Don't tell me you try to pick a fight with these guys without even checking what kind of bounties they have. You never stood a chance. And he's still there shaking in fear from Zoro's. Uh, I guess even Zoro's like that death stare he gave him. Oh yeah, that is Roto saying that. Okay, so Roto's got a crush on Gerd. Cause he has this other thought here. So Gerd comes up to Zoro and says, "Dad, don't hold back next time. It'll be fine." And he's like, "Wait, Gerd, don't say that." Then he's thinking to himself, "Oh, she's so harsh. I love it." Type of thought. Oh God. And so he explains himself like, "Come on, I know all you guys here have Elbaf share the same dream, become the next sun god and rule the world." So this is where we get some of this exposition. But yeah, what he's saying there though is that he was cosplaying and pretending to be the sun god because he wants to he believes in this story we're about to tell. And so Zoro brings up like starts the conversation like, "What's a sun god? What do you mean?" Uh, and some of the giants are arguing about this, and like, "Are you kidding me? The sun god isn't a ruler." And like the other one's like, "Yeah, he's just the god of liberation." Then another goes like, "Oh no, that's more like god of destruction." And it's like, "You're all wrong. Everyone knows he's the god of laughter." Oh yeah, they're all like fighting each other over that story in here, and then Luffy's like, "Wow, it's getting rowdy over there. What's going on?" And he's like, "What are you guys talking about a god?" So someone starts explaining this. I think it's maybe Jarl because he continues it in the next panel. And he says there's a sacred Harley text that have been passed down for generations. And they're unfortunately written in an old language, or this is archaic. And so we have the translations on it have been many, and so that it's not very clear. And so yeah, it switches to Jarl, who's still sitting with Luffy, and he explains no one can say which translation is accurate. And but the only one thing, well, the one thing we kind of are clear, it might be clear on it, is that the world has been destroyed twice before, and the name of the sun god Nika is invoked after each instance. Now, there's something interesting, because so far we've been only thinking about Nika with Joy Boy and how he may have been on like the leader with probably like the military arm of the ancient kingdom, who then was fighting against the alliance of the 20 kingdoms that now have formed a world government, the Federation of the World Government. 1 second. So I'm wondering if that means, well, this would make sense too. I wonder if the world being destroyed a previous time before. So the last time the world being destroyed, he's probably referring to what happened. So this is, you gotta keep this in mind. Jarl is 400 something years old, right? So he's halfway. His age is halfway back to the end of the Void Century, and so I'm wondering if he would have probably, and also does Jarl have any kids? But Jarl probably would have. He possibly would have his father. His father could go back that far if his father hadn't lived that long, but definitely a grandfather who would have been alive during the Void Century. And so we found out through Vegapunk that the world had, after the Void Century, the world water rose, what was it, 200 meters? Oh, come on. Sorry, hold on. Stupid cord stuck there. And so there's something there we got to think about, like, okay, what happened? So what I'm doing, let me finish my thought. My thought is that would mean, I want to make sure my mouse, I want to make sure it's recording. Yeah. So that would mean that given the giants can live so many more centuries than us, it's feasible to think that we could go back 6 or 7 generations of giants before Jarl, before even like growing Bronchi, where something else could have happened. Some of the catastrophe happened. What I'm thinking about is that the ancient kingdom rose to success after that first calamity where he talked about the world being destroyed, and then they were brought down by the world government, and now that's the second calamity. So Nika, there was a Nika god, a sun god, who goes back maybe a couple thousand years before this time period. So there's something there. Yeah, he doesn't give anything else about that, about when this world was destroyed that first time. We just know about the Void Century and the war that was happening during there between the world government and the ancient kingdom. And we get a nice little, as he's continuing his exposition, we give this really nice, it's fairly detailed, it's better than the other ones Oda has anyways, of image of the sun god. It's definitely like something like Luffy is, but he has it in a dark silhouette, but he has the hair with the way, it's kind of cloud looking, but it's what Luffy's hair is like, and he's also wearing like a, not toga, but around his waist, it's just like, it's wrapped with like, what would you call that? It's not shorts or anything, not a kilt either, but I can't think what to call it. But he's got the cloudy hair, the white foamy hair, and the cloud thing to extend around his shoulders. But he's also, like we kind of saw with the images before, he's holding a shield in his left hand and a sword in his right. Actually, I want to stop there. The sword. So I was rewatching some of Wano, and I was thinking about the sword there, and I just realized we got this giant sword here that's in Elbaf. Where is it? Right there. Yeah, I actually got the other chapter. I just realized that there's that giant katana. I think it's like a katana or what? A sword that's in Onigashima, and that sword looks like it's probably not the full length. I think it was like broke based on the way how much we saw, like the handle. It probably was like broken in half. But I realized when I watched that sword's full length would probably be similar to this. Not the length per se, because this other sword's like longer, like some kind of European style. But I was realizing the relative size of those with like the handles looks like the same. And then I remember too that the Ors tribes are much bigger than even the giants. And I forgot about that. Well, I was asking in one of the previous chapters. This these two swords we saw in Onigashima and here could have been wielded by. Oh, and actually, Onigashima is a giant skull of some kind of ancient race. It looked even bigger than even Ors's, though. So these swords are probably like weapons that were created and used by whatever Or's a predecessor of Or's race, and maybe like they were used during like the void century or something. Because we don't know about the age of the Ors. Maybe they live a long time or even longer than the giants. So I'm wondering if this sword is a weapon that was left there from one of them. Yeah, yeah. I don't know why I didn't think of all that before. There's a theory video. Uh, anyways, Jarl goes on and talks about we can't say whether Nika is the world's savior or the great destroyer who brought the world to its knees. No, that's not quite crashing down. All we know is every time he appears, he heralds great change. And he says rulers of the day always tend to fear Nika's return. And Luffy remembers the name Nika, and he's like, "Oh, that name." Bonnie was mentioning that, and he's like, "Yeah, that's the sun god, and has become a symbol, the hopeless and the desperation turn for salvation." So we heard about that. We knew about that with Kuma and his own dad was telling his I forget his dad. His dad taught him that, and then Kuma taught the Bonnie. Wow, this that's still. I just remembered how sad it was, how the way they killed his dad. By the way, I forgot about that. Was I can't. Well, that's right. It's January now. We're only a few months away from that returning too. By the way, I can't wait. Uh, so they're saying Nika is adorned by white clouds. We know. Yep. White hair, white clothes. Yep. And he's said to have a contagious laugh. Uh, and so Luffy's like, oh, no wonder that everyone's been saying I look similar. Wait, who did anyone else say that yet? Because actually, what was it? Let me go here. Ripley was asking about that in the last chapter, and I don't know if he showed her what. Wait, here. Oh yeah, right here in chapter 1134, she was asking about that. Oh yeah, okay. That's right. She saw that wanted poster probably, and she said like, "You're not. Why aren't you in that white-haired form?" And Bonnie said it too, right? So Bonnie and Ripley commented now on his form, and I think he surprises Jarl when he says, "I don't think Jarl has been told yet that Luffy takes on that form." The way his face looks there, it's kind of hard to tell because we get this close up of him where he's crouching down, or unless he's holding Luffy up, he's got Luffy at his face level while he's telling him about the this last bit about the sun god, and then when Luffy's saying, "Oh, it's got that's why it looks similar," and Luffy just dismisses it, though. "Oh, that's got nothing to do with me." Oh, he is holding on a plate because then I see the next shot. He's holding Luffy. Luffy's sitting on a plate this whole time. He was sitting on the table first, but then it looks like Jarl. Yeah, Jarl's been holding him the whole time. That's right. I seen these other shots. I was watching the one where they were all fighting. I saw. I missed it. He was holding Luffy there too. Um, yeah, I don't think Jarl has been told yet by Ripley, because Ripley. Oh no. So yeah. Wait. Yeah. Dorian Bragi saw him too. I don't think any of them, other giants, have told Jarl yet how Luffy can turn into that form. That probably would. I'm wondering what his reaction would be. Would he think Luffy? He probably would tell Luffy get out of here because that might. I bet he would be worried that Luffy's gonna bring calamity kind of to Elbaf if he knew who Luffy could do that. Yeah, when Luffy dismisses his though, like, "Oh, that's got nothing to do with me." He's always like not realizing how he's gonna become the center of stuff. He thinks Luffy. This is something that annoys me a little bit because Luffy he said something like that before, like, I just want to go on my adventure, and I just want to be king of the pirates." It's kind of the same thing with the king of the pirates. He doesn't realize like by with his success now and that being his goal, that like the world government especially is going to want to come after him. He's just bringing everything. He's becoming a magnet toward this, and he doesn't realize it. Basically, so Uh, well, after that bit's over, Stevison, Goldberg, and Haruden come up, and they all talking to Luffy. Like, Stevison starts with saying, "Yeah, don't be so dismissive of this story, Straw Hat." And Haruden's like, "Yeah, you'd understand if you were born in Elbaf." And Goldberg's like, "Yeah, we all look up to Nika." And then he's like, not to defend Roto, but he wasn't lying about what that he wasn't lying in his statement about us all sharing the same dream though. And then Jarl goes on and says, yes, and Loki was the same too, but because of this, his motives led him to kill his own father, and he I think he did that. He continues to, and because he wanted to follow in Nika's footsteps. But the other people get mad, like that doesn't justify what he did, Elder. Um, and Luffy gets confused by it. It's like, oh, Loki, you keep talking about him. So is he a good guy? And all the other giants in unison are like, no. Well, we don't see Jarl say it. We see Haruden and some of the others even jump up. And actually, that's interesting. Now that does bring up something. What that leads us back to what what could that fruit be? They talked about a fruit that devil fruit that Harold was protecting and was passed down from his father and grandfather that's going way back, that this is a powerful or unique devil fruit that he was protecting, and Loki probably ate it. Hold on here. Actually, someone was bringing up. Actually, I'm just thinking of something that's going to come up here. I'll come back to that. I'm wondering if Loki used to cause trouble before he got the fruit. Because that's the thing. He's tied up now with what probably was like our sea prism stones to protect. So whenever he probably ate that devil fruit that he stole from his father after killing him. They go on here. They don't talk about that part, I think, but now we get into the part where they talk a bit about Loki and how he would how he was always causing trouble and whatnot. Now they explain this to Luffy. No, he's the accursed prince. But there was even a prophecy before he was born that foretold that Harold would be slain by his son. Well, who foretold that prophecy now, I wonder? Because there was that mermaid, what's her name? She had a prophecy about Fishman Island. We saw that she told, I think, so she taught, that was brought up, I think, in Fishman Island. And then in Odin's flashback, we see her saying that another prophecy. I think that one was about. That prophecy, I think, was one where she foretold that Neptune was going to have a daughter, and who would become Poseidon. All right, I'm not sure. So there's always these prophecies that are coming up a lot now. Oda is using these prophecies even more now to like have stuff to move that's moving the plot along. The prophecies make sense here because now we're in this kingdom. Oda's got this society of people who are more old fashioned and would believe in this stuff easily. So I'm wondering if Loki had found heard about that prophecy and figured, oh, I'm just like I'm thinking Loki's that kind of person who follows the prophecies blindly. Kind of like this. Kind of reminds me, if true, that reminds me of like Lord Voldemort in Harry Potter. When Snape overheard the prophecy, he only heard a portion of it stated by Trelawney, he told Voldemort about it, and Voldemort interpreted what he heard wrong and thought, okay, if I kill Harry Potter, also it could have meant Neville, but he chose Harry. If I kill this kid, I'm undefeatable. He's the only one who will ever be able to defeat me. So they go on here pointing out after his birth, the horse of fortune died. So they keep saying that he, even when he was just a baby, he was starting to bring misfortune to their kingdom. Then he says that was the same year. That was the same year that Linlin had murdered their hero Yoro. So we saw that in the flashback. So also Loki's not even that old either then. And then again, and the tragedies kept coming. A year later, the queen herself passed on. So Loki's mom. And then he said as he got older, Loki would use his natural strength to make the realm of the dead his personal playground. He killed many beasts and other ones he tamed to and tamed, and he for fun he would release some of them into the villages. So that was all. Oh, I didn't see that part before. He was doing that by the eight. He was eight when he was age 10. So age 10. So no, that's right. So 10 by their standards. So that was probably 30, right? Something like that. Um, and so we see a little silhouette, and we're doing little flashbacks here now. They show some of those beasts from the underworld. We see like the wolf. We see like him in the background. I think he's supposed to be like him maniacally laughing, but it's like a dark silhouette of him, and it's got like the horns. It looks like he almost drew Onigashima, but made it look more like it's supposed to be Loki there, I think. So we see like the wolf, we see the bear, we see a gorilla. The gorilla looks like the one from where Luffy was training actually. And then we get another panel. Yeah, it's Loki again, and he's just drawing Loki with this dark silhouette, and he's got you can tell it's him though because he's got the helmet with the horns and the hair. His hair's coming down, and but he's like, and then going on. The story's going on here about, and it's saying like he was an arsonist as well. His mischief endangered countless lives. Um, so like yes, he had the authority of a prince. So like he and a malicious personality. So it's saying like yeah he was so okay. I'm saying he was like an assertive kind of person. I think that statement's trying to say the authority of a prince. He also had gained a malicious personality, and whenever the king wasn't looking, he'd be causing hell. So yeah, the king would probably try and reprimand him. Harold was obviously must have been trying to reprimand him. He had a okay. There's something interesting there too. Let's step back a sec. The queen died shortly after Loki's birth. Maybe not like immediately, not like from childbirth. It's just shortly after. Like maybe she had him a little bit, raised him a little bit as a baby. But I bet he doesn't remember her much. So Harold had to raise him as a single father, a single parent. So I'm wondering if Loki's mother hadn't died, if she would have been able to stop him from become what he is. Maybe Harold wasn't like the best father, and like not like a bad father, but like he didn't know how to raise a kid by himself. Loki needed like a mother's touch, right? So there's something there to think about with that kind of stuff, because we have that kind of stuff, the situation too, where we were thinking about Doflamingo and how he was raised, and but unfortunately his parents chose to live among God, stop it, Cher. Live among humans, people who hated celestial dragons, and when they found out who they were persecuted. The Doflamingo's family. So I wonder if they lived long in a peaceful place, if Loki's mother and father could have convinced Doflamingo. No, did I say Loki? Yeah, Doflamingo's mother and father could have swayed and Doflamingo from the upbringing he was used to, where they would have slaves and whatnot. So let's go on here. Then you say, okay, then finally, one day, yeah, Loki in that very castle. So they're right over there. Actually, also while they're partying here, they're still outside. It's not nighttime, I guess. I keep thinking they're inside that like part of the what do you call a building where they would like go together and party? They're outside there. They're doing like an outside party, and it's still daytime here. So someone's pointing to the castle. Probably it doesn't show it, but they show a silhouette now of what must be Harold. Probably after he's been slain. It's shown him like probably when he's like they give him his sword and he's like laid the rest. And they go on, yeah, Loki in that very castle killed King Harold, the greatest monarch we ever had. And he was a wise man who tried to connect us with the outside world. And he wanted people outside the world to stop just thinking of us as our reputation we had for a land of warriors. And then another giant. Now we switch back to seeing Jarl, and another one of the giants explains that sword through King Jarl's head was he was stabbed by Loki while Jarl was trying to stop him. That's right. So this must have happened. This part must have been what happened 6 years ago. They're gonna go on right here to explain that with Shanks. So Jarl's like, yeah, the helmet saved me in the end, though. And Luffy even's like, no, that didn't save anything. This sword's still there. even Luffy at this point is like, my God, that's not good that that sword's in your head. Uh, and they say, well, and then Loki's reign of terror finally came to an end. No, wait, didn't the king die? No, I think I got check it. I think no, come on. Oh, there it is. What the hell happened? I forget where they showed it, but I thought they said it was 20 years ago that Loki killed him. I said six. Because I was connecting out right here where they connect the story back to Shanks, where Shanks said Loki was finally stopped. His reign of terror was finally stopped by when he was running amok at sea, and then Shanks captured him. Okay, so God, this chair's so creaky. Yeah, I think I said it was 20 years ago that Loki killed him. I can't find where that was here. Wait a minute here. He was a great king, tried to reform the country. Oh, sure they said the year here somewhere. I can't find it. Uh, yeah. So then they talked about this. I'm looking at chapter 1034 here again. They were talking about his how they were changing, and then they refused to give Loki the throne. Okay. Anyways, so Loki went out to sea at one point to cause trouble. Okay, that makes more sense now because we saw that Loki has this. They called it like a special government bounty. They showed about 4 chapters ago, and that he had a bounty of 2.6 million. That and people were talking about how that didn't seem very high, but like it makes sense if he was out at sea. Maybe like say he started going out to sea 10 or 20 years ago, and started causing problems. That bounty would be quite high because when we see this bounty now, we're thinking about uh, Roger's bounty and Whitebeard's bounty, and then Big Mom and Kaido's. But like having a bounty that high, what's it? It's like 2.6 billion. Still, like if he had kept causing problems as he wants to do, I'm sure Loki's bounty could be like as high as Shanks's now. If he easily, maybe even higher, because he just likes to run amok. And so we go back. See, no, sorry, go back. So Luffy's like, "Wow, Shanks was really here," and they're like, "Yeah, he was just here earlier, but I'm not sure where he went off to though." And so this ends right there. Yeah, this is where this part ends. And now we get to a part where Luffy and Zoro are talking, and Zoro must have been picking up on what Luffy talking about Loki. Luffy talking about Loki because it looks like he pulled him aside here, and he's explaining to Luffy. And Luffy must have figured out basically that Luffy had talked to Loki and made this deal. And he's like, "I thought you were acting weird earlier. That explains it." And he's like, "You understand now that he's a reviled Kingslayer now, right? And everything he told you that and the deal he was like what he was offering was just a lie." And Luffy didn't. And he starts saying, "What? He said he knew where Shanks was." He's like, he's so angry because he wanted to find Shanks and meet him. And he's like, "You do you realize?" Luffy says to Zoro, "You do realize how much I want to see Shanks again, right?" And Zoro's like, oh, "Luffy, you've told us that 1,000 times." Anyways, he was using that. It sounds like he was using that to trick you. He's like, and Luffy's like, "How would you know? You never met Loki." He's like, "Well, yeah, but we have all these stories and this reputation he's got here among these citizens." Yeah, we briefly cut back to Loki saying, "Yeah, I'll tell you everything I know, including where Red Hair's current whereabouts are." Luffy's like, "Ah, if that really was a lie, I'm gonna go send him flying." Okay, now what's going on? Why is this happening here? So now we cut to a part later where they're gonna go meet Loki. I was confused by this why Oda's cutting this to this, but so they've left Zoro and Luffy, and then now they bring Nami along, and they're with Rodo, and they're gonna go get the key to Loki's prison. I don't get the motivation here of Zoro though. So he's like, okay, we'll get this key, but if he pulls anything funny, we'll have to take care of him. Uh, and Nami's like here saying, if you're sneaking enough to do what I think you are, do you think you're ever hot? You guys really think you two could find your way there without my help? Actually, I want to pause on that. I don't know if I brought this up in another video yet, but I was thinking about this because everyone likes to joke about Zoro's how much he gets lost, and I like to remind people that Luffy has a tendency to do that too. He's done the gag is persist more with Zoro now, but if you go back to the what village is that? Where Usopp's from, and you go back to in Alabasta, Luffy got lost twice. He got separated. He didn't know how to figure out. Usopp told them where to go, where Kuro was going to have his ship dock and his pirates going to come and ransack the town. And Luffy got lost too there. And I forget how he got separated initially, but in Alabasta, he gets separated from the crew, and then he's in that one city where he ends up meeting Ace, and he's lost trying to get there. He's like in the desert for a while. I mean, yeah, it's not unless you know your way how to traverse a desert. I think anyone could get lost, but Luffy just seemed, I forget, he got separated and he just lost there too. So it's of course Nami's gonna remember that she was there with at the point with, so she's been there for, she's been with the crew a long time. She was there that incident with the part I'm talking about at Usopp's village, and the other two got lost. So she's gonna be like, yeah, I gotta go with you two. You both are gonna get lost, and the two of you together, you'll never get anywhere. And so they're together on one of those ships, the taxi ship, I'm gonna call it, and they brought Roto along to take them to where they're going. I don't know if they're going first to. They're gonna look for the key. Oh right, duh. This is where it's gonna get good. No, well, the chapter's gonna end soon. God, how long am I recording this? Anyways, then it's like Luffy's like, wait, why are we taking this guy with us? And she's like, oh, he's my new slave. And so Roto, because he's in love with Nami, like he's obsessed with the Straw Hats. I guess he's like he needs a lady, I guess. But he's like, oh, I'm so blessed. Oh yeah, so because he's obsessed with women like Gerd too. We see Zeus is here too. Nami's little cloud that was Big Mom's homie. By the way, I think I brought this up, but if Zeus is still alive, I think that means Big Mom's still alive. Zeus is alive through Big Mom's fruit, even though he's some kind of life form she created. I'm sure if Big Mom died, Zeus would be snuffed out too. And Zeus goes out to Roto and he's setting ground rules of the pecking order. And he's like, don't forget, I'm her number one slave, and Sanji's number two. And Roto's there, and he's like, yeah, what? I strong girls get my blood pumping. And the other two are like, wow, he's like been struck by lightning, literally. Wait, did that mean? Oh, whatever. So Roto's trying to kiss up to Nami though, and he's like, hey, Nami, did you know that we're both navigators? Isn't that really interesting? And Nami's like, don't ever try to get close to me again. And he's just like, yes, ma'am. Oh, Jesus. And Nami's saying, well, it feels kind of weird that we're leaving as guests on, that we're bailing the party so early. And Luffy's like, well, don't worry, it's fine. Have you tried some of this meat? And he's got a piece of that moose meat with him, and he's still snacking away. Good, he's gonna need his strength. And Roto's like, don't worry about it. Everyone else is in a drunken stupor. They probably won't remember what they're celebrating. So where they're heading is to the castle to find the key. Actually, that's right. Never. I was thinking that's gonna be foreboding, but wait, it couldn't. Well, we'll see. Oh God. So Nami's like, so we see what Nami. This makes sense, of course. Nami's like, oh, hey Roto, if all that treasure in the castle just happened to disappear, would that be a problem? And Roto's just playing along because he's doing anything he can to kiss up to her. It's like, oh well, my vision's so awful. I'm sure I wouldn't notice. And then we see a little shot of her with the berry symbols in her eyes. And the other two are like, this is what you had in mind since the beginning, wasn't it, Nami? Well, it's probably Zoro saying that. So she's just coming along. She's hoping to nick something from the castle. And now we get to the last scene here. All that stuff is. So now we get the two Gods Knights have made their way to the underworld and to Loki's spot. And we start with Loki saying, "Oh, so this is what you guys came for." He says, he's like, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to refuse your offer. I'm sure it's such a great honor to be invited to join your noble knights, but that would make you celestial dragons. Wait, that would make me. Make you celestial dragons if you're part of the knights. Okay. And he's like, do you really expect anyone on the planet to be willingly become scum like that? So I wanted to stop there here. Yeah, we have to stop here. Loki is being invited to become one of the new members of the Gods Knights, which makes sense now. I had to think about this one too. I was like, why would they want him to join now? I mean, other than him being so strong. But then I remembered that not Gonfall. I keep thinking Gonfall. Garling, Shanks' dad. He has vacated his spot because he's been promoted to be one of the Gorosei by not Loki by Eam. Remember how? So there's they must want to keep the fixed number or same number of Gods Knights, and now they're trying to recruit Loki here. And yeah, so the two of them are standing here in front of them. Also, I want to point out though, that's funny. He doesn't, even though he's a awful person who wants to cause havoc and stuff. He doesn't want anything to do with the celestial dragons. Well, of course, he's royalty, so of course he probably wants to make his own rules, do his own thing. He's not going to want to be subservient to anyone else. So he calls them scum here, and I'm thinking, okay, he must know that they're pretty awful. But I mean, like, you're not much better. So now they stop. So we switch. I don't know where this conversation would start. I'm sorry. I was just rereading this. So this Shanks guy, Shanks clone, whatever. He says he asked the woman, do we have any intel? So I think they're planning on going up to the Sun world, but she's like, all the informants we ever sent to Elbaf always report a giant crow heading for them, and then the transmissions get cut off. So they've been trying to spy on Elbaf for a long time, but there's something, these crows are stopping them somehow. Not somehow, but I'm wondering what these crows are being. Are they some natural defense that Elbaf was set up to keep outsiders out? This woman starts getting angry here, and we see her getting a shot of her. First, she takes her hood off, and she's saying, "I can't believe the weakness. The weakness. I think what she's trying. Weakness is beyond belief." So I think she's referring to the spies they've tried to send, and she's basically saying, like, these people, the people we sent are just like incompetent and weak. So she's that kind of person who just can't. You could tell can't stand that. We get a look at her face. First of all, she's wearing like a hat that looks very similar like koalas, and it's got a little brim, and she's got like goggles over it. And we get a look at her face, and she's got two different colored eyes. So this is in black and white, so we won't know. But the left eye, let's start with the right. The right eye is very dark in the middle, in the iris, with a little white in the middle, and then the other's the opposite. Like this, it's probably that one's probably gonna be like it could be brown or whatever some other color. But that dark eye, the one on that right, I bet is gonna be some kind of unusual color, darkness thing. And then we get a full shot of her in her name card. So she's wearing like some kind of officer's coat, I guess you could call it. It's all dark though, and but she's not wearing any pants. She's just got like some undies or panties or something on. And you see her boots. she's also she's got a very long-legged woman. I always say she's from that long leg tribe, and she's wearing these very interesting boots. They almost look mechanical at the bottom. They got some weird around the ankle area. They're very weird. They got like a cylinder look to them. And it says we get her name, and her name is Gunko. And something else interesting, she's her right sleeve is like way too long. We have her arms bent, and the sleeve comes down. And then her left, she's got her arms straight down, and then the sleeve's like unraveling, and it's got this. I'm thinking she's got devil fruit that's probably like something to do with like cloth manipulation, but it's also at the end of it, it's got an arrow on it that looks similar to what Eam used to stab King Cobra back in the flashback. Well, we saw when Sabo and him were there talking to them when Cobra was interrogating the Gorosei. But so she's going on to say like, I'm done just standing by and listening. This is the definition of impertinence. Now I don't know if she's planning on trying to hurt Loki or if she's gonna go. I'm a little confused if she was meaning talk because she was talking about this intel. The other guy was just asking about intel if they have any intel. Sorry, I think she was planning to do something to Loki, and the other guy's like, "Don't be hasty." Oh, by the way, look at that. So some reason here, Oda's still hiding this guy's face. By the way, so when he asks her, "Do we have any intel?" I forgot to mention he's still wearing a cloak, but it's covering his left face. We can't see his left eye. He's got hair coming down there too. He's kind of like a Sanji look, but the cloak is hiding it over too. And then we get to the shot where he's saying to Gunko, "Don't be hasty." It's alongside the shot where it showed her full body when she pulled the cloak back, but when she's getting upset and when she has a little bubble, he has it hiding in the other shot next to it. The Shanks guy, he's standing there. We have a shot with him and her standing nearby, but the bubble from the other panel, Oda has it blocking his face. Oh, that was clever. I don't know why I missed that before. He's going any way he can to see. Yeah, every time you show him a couple more times in these panels, but you still never see his face fully. He only does Gunko's full reveal here in this chapter. So as he says to her, "Oh, don't." Oh, look, he's got the sword there too. It looks just like Shanks. So as he does that, one of the wolves comes out of the forest and approaches the two from behind. And they're like, "Oh, what's that?" And so Loki says to the dog, "Oh, haha, just in time. Eat them up, wolf." And so the wolf is sizing up Gunko. And so she turns and looks at it and like says, "Stay back. You want to keep breathing." And then her right hand comes out, and you see that the sleeve is unraveling again. And by the way, when the sleeve, she has a dark outfit on, but when it's turning into that cloth stuff, it's turning white. So we see her hand there, and that sleeve I was saying that was really long. So her other sleeve probably was too, because in the other panel we see it unraveling. Yeah, it was too long. Yeah, I can see that the sleeves are really all too long for her. But now the right one's unraveling, and suddenly we see a bit of what she can do. She does something with her fingers, and this cloth starts unraveling into a circle around her, and then it goes around the wolf's neck, and she starts choking it. She's got it pulling in the air, kind of like lynching it almost. And Loki's like, "Huh? What's going on?" Like, can he see? He can't see probably, can you? That's right, he doesn't see. Duh. So he's hearing this, and he's like, what, Wolf, are you okay? And so she's having that to her power. So she has that cloth. It's undone itself from her hand, and as you see it going up, the cloth's still going around her hand. There's some still around her hand, and she's pointing up and making the cloth levitate and pulling the wolf up with it. as it goes up. And this is like scaring Loki. Like this is like probably like a pet to him. And so the Shanks clone says, "If we were to spare him, would you change your mind?" And Loki, this is where the end is. Just about comes and like, oh, Loki says, "Oh, so this is how you this is how you operate." Since that's your offer, I'll just accept my friend's fate and wish him peace and death. And now he makes a statement: it's okay to grieve and rage, but a warrior never kicks and screams in the face of death. I'll swallow all my fury and use it to fuel me while I reduce this world to rubble. A weird way of saying that. So he's basically also saying like, no, I'm not gonna. You can kill him, but I'm not gonna. He's my friend, but you can kill him. I'm not gonna join you. I'm gonna do my own thing. He's kind of like he's kind of like reminds me of Luffy. That's probably this is the end of the chapter. He kind of reminds me of Luffy in that like he's like no, I'll never join someone else. Although I don't. If Luffy's friend was hurt, say if that was Zoro or somebody, I don't know. Luffy would probably have to say yes. I'll do anything. Perhaps he's kind of like the dark Luffy. Like no, you can. I'm a true warrior. I'll never give in to someone else's demands, and I'll just have to accept my friend's fate. Yeah, and that's where the chapter ends. God damn, a lot happened here. So, again, this power reminds me a bit of what Eam did with this cloth manipulation. The only thing, again, is this power, the way she's doing it, I'm wondering if this is not a devil fruit again. Also, again, it's what I was about to say is that it's not when you see those ribbons around her hand, they turn white because her outfit's all black. Only the inside of the cloak is shown as being kind of white, but that could be like some other color there. That Oda just did it to differentiate it from being black. But everything else she's wearing is black, and the ribbon things around her wrist turn white when she's unleashing that, and then used it on that wolf. And I'm bringing it up again because when Eam used that, we thought it was black and like that. But again, it has that same arrow. Also, too, when we see Gunko, I forgot to mention she has what looks like band-aid type things going up her past her knee, so they connect right where the boots are and go up to partially up her thigh there. And also, by the way, I forgot to mention she has very short hair that it's kind of wavy and comes a little bit past her ears, but no longer than that. And yeah, I'm wondering if the next chapter now will get something from this other Shanks guy. It's gonna probably be a big reveal. Oh, of course, it's Luffy. So Luffy and Zoro. It looks like Luffy and Zoro are gonna be set up to meet them. I just realized this Oda's doing that because Luffy's gonna probably interact with these. We're gonna meet these guys soon, maybe the next chapter, and he's gonna think that's Shanks. He's gonna be like, "Oh, Shanks, I thought you were still here. I thought you were gone. Oh, he's still here. But this is wonderful." So that's gonna be you just know that's gonna be the initial interaction when they meet. And so yeah, Loki. Yeah, we figured out what Loki's like. He's definitely the god of mischief. I saw a theory too. Someone had a comment. I was reading the comments of this chapter. This is the one I'm reading online. It's like it mentioned someone thinks that maybe he got some kind of explosion power. Let's see. Explosion fruit. The laugh he uses, the way he's doing it is like express an explosion. Maybe? So it'd be like another version of like what was that other guy? But that's a different version because there's the Mr. Five, the one of the Baroque work agents. He had a fruit that was kind of like that, where he could turn something into a bomb. Wasn't he like flicking his boogers or something? He'd do something weird like that, and then he could cause things to explode. But as we know with Oda, if he's not above like making other versions of the same kind of fruit or having them be more powerful versions, like Miss Valentine's, Mr. Five's partner, she had that fruit where she could make herself heavier and she would like rise in the air and slam down on people using the gravity and crushing people. And then there was the one member of Doflamingo who had the same fruit, but it was like an improved version, where he can multiply himself even more than the the other girl's fruit can. So if there is an explosion fruit, it would be interesting. Because and the reason I'm bringing this up is someone that the theory that I'm just reading there is someone's suggesting that the arson stuff that was going on is actually has to do with that has to do with that maybe Loki had that power, that explosion fruit, and that's he was using that to cause the mayhem that the giants in this were telling in this story, where he would cause fires and cause harm to the endangered other citizens. Uh, I don't know about that, Bill, because I find that one flaw possibly with the way that person's discussing that, because when they talk about this arson and causing stuff like that, this is before he killed Harold, so I'm thinking Loki didn't have a devil fruit power until he wanted the devil fruit that his father was protecting, the one that's been passed down through their family line for generations. So after he got that, also I'm thinking after he got that, it sounds like that's when he went out to sea. Like he never bothered before to go out and leave the leave Elbaf, but then once he got that fruit, he decided he probably at that point had like pissed off everyone too in the village and in the country. So he's like, okay, I'll sail out to sea and I'll continue my mayhem there. And then eventually that's what caused Shanks to have to go after him. So we don't know anything about that too. We just know that Shanks caught him 6 years ago. So now we can probably see why Shanks, although that's weird too. So Shanks, that's when they said Shanks was turned promoted in the eyes of the public to a Yonko. Um, but that's kind of weird. I could see him gaining more of a reputation for that, but usually I would think a Yonko would have to do it more like them clashing with other pirates who are the top dogs among the sea, among the New World part. Maybe Loki was vying to be kind of like that. So maybe at the time, like Whitebeard obviously was the top dog among all of them. But then you have Big Mom and Kaido. They already got they obviously have been in their respective areas for decades now. And so at that point, there'll just be the three of those three as emperors. I'm sorry, Whitebeard, Kaido, and Big Mom. And then once maybe then Shanks and Loki maybe were clashing. And maybe if Loki had defeated Shanks, and that maybe he would have been considered one of the Yonko. I like that theory. I bet something like that would happen. That would make sense because that's would fit with the timeline too of when they said Shanks became a Yonko. Yeah, we still didn't get anything about that devil fruit. As much as I want to see that, I'm sure everyone here is dying over seeing who this Shanks' brother is. But I'm still more interested in this stuff about the what that devil fruit is. Oh yeah, we gotta go back to the end. The world was destroyed twice before. Does he mean just the entire world? So that's something too. He brings that up. So that obviously Yarrow brought that up. So that obviously means that giants had got outside more, you could say, generations ago, and knew about the events happening in the war. I'm sure everyone knew about the war, the voice entry one, but then he talks about the world being destroyed previously before that. So what was I gonna say about that too? Oh, that makes me wonder too, because you know how Wano has those walls up there to protect themselves. I was thinking about that too, like how the world flooded and there's like stuff submerged under the sea, other islands, other kingdoms. I was wondering like that if that means the underworld level here of that they call the underworld here in Elbaf. If there was a level beneath that before, and like the underworld wasn't always called the underworld that portion of Elbaf. If there was a level before that, it was the previous underworld area. Because the flooding. I'm thinking that maybe that's why they moved up here too, the sun realm here, because this sun realm looks like it's I wonder how high that would look up. Where was that part here? It has to be a couple hundred feet, if not more. Well, yeah, even more than that, because the giants are about that high. So this realm here the distance from the underworld to the I know I brought that before too. Between the two realms has to be a couple miles, I imagine. So that the fact that the giants live up here is probably a preventative measure, because you know a few generations ago the world was flooding after the events of the Void Century War. That's what you call it, Void Century War. The world had flooded, and the what was I say about that? Yeah. So the giants, yeah, they moved up to the next world. Maybe they lived in the underworld for a time, for many centuries before that. But then when that war took a place, they had to go up above and because everything was the water. I'm sure didn't like flood overnight. It was probably slowly going up, and it was just becoming obvious. Like, okay, we gotta book it to the next level. That's my theory on that right now. Yeah, by the way, too, I think I saw Colin running around during this party. It was funny that he was hanging out there, but the other kids are still like, did we see Ripley? I wonder if Ripley came to the party. I don't think we saw Ripley here. I think that's, what's her name there? No, that might have been someone else. Who was that girl there? Not this girl. Saul's assistant. I thought I saw her here. Wait, let me see her picture again. Wait, she's got that hat. Is that the same hat? No, that's someone else. There's this giant here with glasses who was looking at Jean Bay, and I thought for a second that was what's her name again? Hold on, let me find it. Angie. Yeah, I thought that was Angie, but the hat's different in the nose. Yeah, that's not Angie. I don't. It doesn't look like Angie or Ripley as well did not come to this party here. Um, but you see right here, there's one panel where it's the second panel in the chapter when Luffy's talking with Jarl. Oh, he was holding him up there too at that point. I didn't catch that until later. When Jarl's holding Luffy there, you see Stevenson and Haruden. Right behind them, they're facing Jarl. Right behind them, there's Collins running around there. So he's hanging out with them too. But I'm assuming the other kids aren't here. Um, Anyways, whew, I think I've been going well over an hour now. I actually had to stop a few times, so I got to edit this together. Anyways, holy shit, did a lot happen here. God damn, the exposition, the stuff with Loki, the stuff with Oars I'm thinking about now too. It's like, holy shit. And Loki part of the God's Knights, and he's like, no way, I'm not doing that. And okay, again, why is Luffy gonna try and get the key? What is hope they gain out of this? Wait a minute here. Let's see that he knew Shanks was. So that's funny too, because so Zoro caught on that Luffy was hiding something, and now he pulls him aside here. Uh, so wait, so he's gonna go. I'm gonna go and Lucy, we'll get the key. We'll have to take care of him. I have a feeling, yeah. So that's probably what's gonna happen here. They're gonna get the key here, and they're probably gonna head down there while the Gods Knights are still there with Loki. Holy shit, yeah. Then we'll have what I said, like I said with Shanks, Luffy mistaking the other guy for Shanks. And then we'll probably get his reveal, hopefully. Anyways, there's a lot here to wrap my head around. I don't know if I'll make another video. I might make some like little shorts, like I was showing. I'm gonna end this chapter here. I gotta have some lunch now and get this out soon. So thanks for watching.